Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we have a firmware update for the NB4 Plus this time. This update addresses a few things. One of the main ones is the screen step brightness. So once we get this update installed, you should have a nice from whatever percentage to 100 without the screen doing the weird like 60% full brightness and then 80% back to half and then 100% full again. So we should be able to get that working properly. So let's bring in for a close-up look and see how we get on with this one. Right, so first thing we're going to want to do is find out which version of the NB4 Plus we've got. So for that, we're going to click on little gear icon, system menu, scroll all the way to bottom. We're going to click on About, and we can see on this one we have the NB4 Plus EN version. Again, this one's been updated because I've been messing around with everything, but I can still show you the process. So for this, first off, I create an NB4 Plus folder on the desktop. So we've got an NB4 Plus folder created. That's currently blank at the moment. So for this, we're going to go to Flysky's website. So it's flysky-cn.com. Then we're going to click on Products. We're going to click Surface. We're going to scroll down and find us NB4 Plus. We're going to come over to Downloads and Upgrades. And then as we scroll down, we've got a user manual, but nobody ever reads that. We've got EN and EU firmware, and we've got standard and FCC in both. So basically the only difference between these, FCC is higher transmission power but less battery life. Standard is standard transmission power and longer battery life. Now for me, even on 8th scale racing, I've never had a range issue using standard, so that's what I'll be sticking with. So for me, I'm going to download the standard firmware, and it's the EN version. So we click on downloads. When it asks us where we want it to live, we look for his NB4 Plus folder, we go into that and we click save, and that'll download as NB4 Plus firmware. And then if you haven't already got it installed, you need to download Flysky Assistant, download it, double click on it and install it, and then away we can go. First off, we're going to open Assistant. So if you double click on your Assistant icon, you'll get this come up. Next, we're going to plug in our transmitter. So you'll see screen flash and you'll hear Windows do the USB sound and it'll say device online. So we click on it, we go to export and we export as model memories. And again on this one we can click all, but then just deselect the ones that are blank, because I don't see any point backing up blank memories. And then if you click next, you can get to the extra 5 memories we've got on this transmitter. But I just like to put a tick in the actual ones that we're going to be backing up. Then we click export. It's going to ask you where to save it. So again, find your NB4 Plus folder, and you can rename this if you like, or just click save. Either way, it's good to have a backup. Because it's backing up on Windows, you can see what date the file was created anyway. So it's good to just go back to that date. And it's really useful to have a backup of your actual model memories. If anything happens to the controller, like you completely trash it, it gets stolen or anything and you end up replacing it, you've got a backup for all your settings. If you accidentally catastrophically mess up a load of settings, rather than have to go through and input them all back in, especially if you're running sort of 8 channel on a rock crawler, it's nice to just be able to plug in Assistant, press restore, put that channel memory back on, and away you go again. So they're all backed up nice and safe. We can close that. Then we want to go into our NB4 Plus folder, and if you just make sure you've got your firmware downloaded properly, it should be 1.0.8-3. Then on as transmitter, we just click the gear icon, settings, scroll all the way down, and you'll see firmware update. Click on that, it'll tell you that it may reset your model memories doing an update. Just press yes. You'll see its screen go off. It'll come back on and say do not operate. Once you're at that state, you can open your update software. Now, sorry if you can't read the tiny writing on this. I've tried everything and for some reason I can barely get this to show up on camera. But it will detect it and it will say update ready. So then you just click update. If you do not see your transmitter in here, the chances are you're not using the correct data cable and you've just got a charge cable connected, or you've downloaded the EN version of the updater but you've actually got an EU radio. That'll also not show up in here. But basically it just starts going through. It says programming Flash and we're currently on 44% already. So it does update really quickly. If you download the wrong version of the updater, it just won't work. So it won't do any damage to your transmitter. You'll just get really frustrated because your transmitter won't show up. If you don't put your transmitter into update mode, it'll say failed. So it won't be able to program the transmitter if it's not in update mode. And then it just says verifying Flash and then update successful. Your transmitter will restart. It'll come up with the new version of software, so 1.0.8. So we can then close that down. I'll just open Assistant again. But with this update, if you're going from 107, it won't reset your model memories. So if we go in, go to model, we can see all my model memories are still there, so we don't need to go in and restore them. But if you were going from an older version, you may now be looking at a reset transmitter, so it won't have any model information in it. This is why I take you through doing the actual backup first. As long as you've got a backup, the hardest thing you'll have to do is restore them to your transmitter and then go through each model as you want to use it for the first time and bind that RC back to the model memory that it belongs to. You'll only have to do that once. But basically to restore them, we connect Assistant, we go to Import, load model file, go back to your desktop and then find your NB4 Plus folder. Click on the file we made earlier, click Open, it'll show you all your models, click Import. And if we select all and then add, on the right hand side you've got the models that are actually on the transmitter. If we scroll down, I mean I can barely see them so I don't think you'll be able to, but it just says Flysky sort of 12, 13, 14, 15. On here you can organize them. So if we click on the TTO2 drift, the model memory that it's going to rewrite, if your transmitter were blank, could be Flysky 01. Mine's already got the TTO2 drift on there. But if you click down, you can move it and it'll tell you which one it's going to replace. So you can do it that way. And then when you've got them all in the order you want, you just press OK and it'll send them back to the transmitter. And you'll get the same screen as when we're backing them up. Just a small spinning icon in the middle. It'll count up to 100. The transmitter will go back to its normal screen and then you just need to bind your model memories back. But if you've got all your model memories on it still, all well and good. If not, restore them back to it. And then the last thing I would do is press on gear icon, go into system menu, go down to stick calibration, click yes. Move your steering to full extent, move your throttle and brake to full extent at travel.
Calibration successful.
And it'll say calibration successful. And then one other thing we need to try is adjusting backlight, so it's on 100. And if we slowly bring it down, we can go to 50. If we bring the lowest one down, we can pretty much go till screen's off. Not sure anybody would ever want the screen that low, but if I click on it, you can see it doesn't do the weird bright dark. it just goes from 50% and upwards. So yeah, they fixed the screen brightness bug. And if we go back, we can see the release notes for it. So if I quickly look in here, so optimize occasional flickering of the screen when adjusting brightness, and then it just says optimize other user experience related issues. Nothing springs to mind as yet, but it's certainly fixed the screen brightness issue. I know a few people mentioned that they'd got that. Strangely enough, doesn't affect all transmitters, which is why we got this update that they forgot to put the patch in it that fixes the screen brightness issues for the radios that were affected. But that should get you all updated and all working, all your model memories back on. So let's wrap this one up. So there you have it, the latest firmware, so 1.0.8-3 I believe there's somewhere. Main point of this one fixes the weird brightness issue on screen, so definitely if your screen adjustment is affected by that, it's well worth having. Don't know what other sort of minor things it's fixed in background, but definitely worth having the update on there for the screen fix. I know it's affected quite a few people that's messaged me. So thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.